What's up, y'all? This is Joseph R. Wheeler III, the artist, the founder, and the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. Yes, 501c3 nonprofit in Atlanta, Georgia. We celebrate diversity in the popular arts and creative lifestyles. By that we mean outdoor recreation. By that we mean sci-fi, fantasy, action, thriller, horror, you name it, comic books, video games, toys, all above and more and more and more. Not to mention ONYXCON Fitness, which is another one of our imprints. But today you are in tune to an ONYXCON exclusive. And what is our exclusive topic today? BEL-AIR. Some people are still like, what's that? And that's a shame. That's why I know I had to do this, because this show deserves more attention, deserves more props. Let me help y'all out. In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground was where I spent most of my days, chilling out, maxing, you with me? And relaxing, shooting some b-ball outside of the school with a couple of guys that was up to no good. Started making trouble in his neighborhood. He got in one little fight and his mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in BEL-AIR." And the rest is hip hop. 1990s, Black excellence, history. And what is this? I'm rocking this Fresh that I got on. Yeah, I gotta shout that out too. Shout out to Mad Cab in LA. They make these incredible sweatshirts that reflect many parts of Black culture, popular arts culture. That's the logo. Look them up, Madcab CO, Madcab_CO. on Instagram. Shout out Madcab. You know I'm always putting you on, homie. We're gonna make sure we do an interview with him soon too and talk about all his creations. But I had to rock this one for this one because we talking about it, right? Yeah, so I had to rock this one for this one. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But while I'm on the topic of Madcab, let me make sure I shout out a lot of their creations because they've been so wonderful sending me. Do you see this? Oh my gosh, yes. So yes, I got my whole Madcab collection, and I will be adding more because he's got more designs where those came from. He's got one for Radio Raheem from Do the Right Thing. He's got, oh my gosh, he's got his own characters. You know, it's fun, it's cute, you know, it's cool. And yes, it's reflective of the Peanuts gang, Charlie Brown and all that kind of vibe, but it's got that hip hop flavor that anybody who sees it, you just know or you don't know. And if you don't know where you been, where you at, who are you, get yourself together, understand, get with the vibes, baby, get with the vibes. Oh yeah, and it's quality, you know what I'm saying? Champion gear that I rock, you get your boots knocked, then attached like a pit that locked. Damn, I always have to do it. Every time I say champion gear, I have to spit the Raekwon Wu-Tang. It just is what it is, right? Okay, let's stay on focus here. We're talking about BEL-AIR. BEL-AIR, which is a real place for those who don't know. I mean, I don't assume that everybody knows geography of the United States and that knows that, yes, the famous show and where he was is actually a very wealthy neighborhood in the Los Angeles County area. It's part of Los Angeles County, Los Angeles. It's a very wealthy area. Some of the biggest, I mean, actually, some of the most, I think it's got like the biggest mansion. This one they call the One. It's like the most expensive mansion in the world is in BEL-AIR. So, you know, go figure, you feel me? So if you don't know the story, I'm gonna break a quick breakdown for you. You had to know BEL-AIR. You had to know the Fresh Prince of BEL-AIR. Everybody knows Will Smith. He's A-list. To be A-list as an actor, it gets no higher. You know what I'm saying? You think of A-list, you think of Will Smith. You think of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. You think of Viola Davis. You think of Angela Bassett. You think of Halle Berry. You think of all these legendary, amazing talents. And I'm an actor myself, so, you know, we aspire to be in the midst of these people, if never even reaching those levels of glory as artists. But this is the other reason why this show means so much to me, because you're taking something that was originally a comedy that everybody loved from 1990 to 1996, and you flipped it. Now, when I say you, got to give credit where credit is due. A lot of people don't know this. And so, got to give credit where credit is due, where it all began. There's a gentleman who did what is called proof of concept in the biz, proof of concept or a sizzle trailer. What that means is you create a trailer for a film or a TV show that looks so damn good, people think it's already out. They look at this and say, yo, wait a minute, whoa, what is this? Where can I watch this? What channel is it? You know, they're on their phone. Where is it? And they can't find it because it's not literally out. But you've convinced them that this needs to be out. And that's the reason we have Bel-Air. I want people to really take a moment, especially my creators out there, my fellow writers, my fellow actors, my fellow artists in general, whatever type of art you do. Because I'm a visual artist, I'm a filmmaker, I'm all those different things. But no matter what you do, don't ever take for granted that that incredible idea you have today can't turn into something mega tomorrow. This show and the idea of it came from a brother by the name of, and yes, I have my notes here, so you will see me looking down. I got plenty of notes. I'm not messing up nobody's name. You know what I'm saying? We're keeping it real. His name is Morgan Cooper. All right. This brother created this concept. Now, I saw the concept when it came out on YouTube because, you know, it was going viral a little bit. I mean, it's up to like 7 million views as of today. So I'm looking at this thing on YouTube saying, this is good. Like, yo, damn good. First and foremost, his cinematographer, whoever he had working on his shots, whoever did the camera work. And then the concept itself is just brilliant. But it looked like what you end up having with Bel-Air. That's what I really love about the show. Once it got picked up, they didn't change this man's vision. They kept it as colorful and beautiful and the reflections of what he wanted it to be about. You know, to be this non-comical version of this original comedy. Let's make it a drama and let's keep it serious. You know, we're going to have comic relief, but we're going to keep this a serious, thought-provoking concept. Beautiful. And the way my black folk look on this show is just how he had it on the original proof of concept. He understands the chocolate box. He understands the human family, where you, no matter who's on front of that camera, you make sure their lighting is right. You make sure their skin is glowing. It's showing the absolute beauty of all their features and everything. That's rare. That is super rare. There's a lot of people I can name who do it, but off the top of my head, the only other person I know makes a concerted effort to always be on point with that is my girl, the one and only, the director, okay? Hailing from Los Angeles, California, Miss Ava DuVernay. Okay, Miss Ava DuVernay. She, to me, and her team set a standard for that, period. It's uncompromisable. Every time you see us on screen, we're going to look good. You understand? I don't care how dark you are. I don't care how light you are. I don't care how in between you are. Wherever you are on the palette, you will shine. And that's beautiful. And that's important. So, for everybody, like I said, the human family, okay, it's very important. Everybody show up and show up well. And they doing that. They doing the damn work, y'all. So shout out to Mr. Morgan Cooper, because this concept, and I'm going to name some names, people I don't know in the biz, I'm not getting paid to do this. ONYXCON's a nonprofit. We show love. We give platform to what deserves it. This show deserves it. I'm just shouting out other artists that I know deserve to get this shine, because these artists, and when I say these artists, I'm talking about the actors that were in the original proof of concept. You got Sherry Roulette Mosley. You got Granville O'Neill. Off the top of my head, I remember him playing Uncle Phil in it. I think the first name I named was maybe Will's mom. Don't quote me on that. I'm just running names as I remember. Kira Ashby, Jelani Talib, Sada K, Crystal Copage, and Jade Page. Shout out to all of those incredible creatives, because they were the reason why this started. They were the reason. And oftentimes, you know, I know how this biz works. Sometimes some of those people you're gonna see their face, but you may not hear their name yelled as loud again. And I want to make sure they get their props, at least on my platform. I'm shouting you out because I know what it is as an actor when, you know, you're part of something like this, a proof of concept. When they recast the entire cast, none of those, people are in the show. But that's not to say that, you know, there could be deals worked out where some of them are going to have cameos, day player roles, day player meaning, you know, 1 or 2 lines on one episode, thing like that. I don't know. I don't know the politics of that, so I'm not getting into that. But I want to make sure I shout out my fellow artists and acknowledge them, because, like I say, this proof of concept is the reason why Bel-Air, the show, the spinoff, exists. Now, let me give you the timeline. This is all coming out of my research. Let me also add, before I get into the timeline, this man Cooper created this thing off of $25,000. Now, you need to go look at this so you can understand what I'm saying. You need to go look at this proof of concept and see how brilliant it is. And if you've seen the show or haven't seen the show, immediately get the Peacock app, Like, again, this is not paid for advertising. This is just support for an amazing show that deserves respect. Get the app, because that's the only way you can see the show. You know, this ain't no shout out to NBC. NBC ain't lining no pockets of ONYXCON. You need to be. We'd appreciate it with 501c3. If you like this, anybody at the top that got some power, put some money on it. The Venmo is always in there at ONYXCON, okay? It's in the description. Do what you need to do with that. I say this all the time. I'm not going to stand too long on my soapbox, but being a nonprofit and doing proof of concepts ourselves, we did BIGGITY, which you need to go look at that. Go check that out. BIGGITY, what is it? That's mine. Written, produced, starring in along with my amazing ensemble cast, okay? We did that in one day. This brother here made this in like a week, I think he said in the article I read. 25,000 in a week. So what I'm saying is, those of us who have the mind for it, we're putting in the work. We got your next great shows, your new concepts, your amazing something you didn't think of, okay? You know, all of those are categories, because this is, you know, a reinvent of something that's already established, but revisioning it. I'm doing a totally original thing and on a shoestring budget. So imagine when somebody who can put aside and do something with 25,000, what somebody like me could do with 25,000, what somebody else who needs it could do with it. We need the money, y'all. This is what's waiting on the other side of the financial block. The wall of finances is the only thing in the way of you getting the best art you've ever experienced in your life. I'm gonna say that again. The best art you've ever experienced in your life is on the other side of financial blockades. If you are not a gatekeeper, if you are someone who can help, please donate. Thank you. Okay, so from 2019, he made it, to ending up in a bidding war that included HBO Max, Amazon, Netflix, and Peacock, who won. And the rest is history. We got a show coming on up to episode 4. There's 6 episodes, I believe. And 2 more left. I can't believe it's only 2 more left. I'm already starved. I'm already not mad, but I'm a little, as a true fan, I'm like, damn, that ain't enough. I needed 8. I needed 10. 8 is average. I mean, god dang. I guess they were playing it safe. I'm sure they got them locked and loaded. They just playing it safe to see, are people really going to love this? This is why I had to do this video. The fans got to get behind this show. You got to see it and understand why. All right, let's get into the big whys. In the original show that ran from 1990 to 1996, you had Will Smith himself playing Will Smith. We know the story of the kid from Philly who comes to live with his uncle and aunt, Aunt Viv. The new Aunt Viv, you've got Cassandra Freeman. Oh, let me finish up. Vernie Watson was the original V, which was Will's mom's character, who would visit sometimes to the mansion, if you remember all of that. And the new one is April Parker. Shout out to her. You got Jazz, the original DJ Jazzy Jeff as Jazz, you know what I'm saying? But on the show, he's this new guy. The brother is Jordan L. Jones, excuse me. Jazz is doing a great job. Love that Jazz. It's a very interesting take on Jazz. Real cool. It keeps all the coolness of the character, but with a whole nother vibe. Everything on this show is just a whole nother vibe, but still the essence of the character. And that's great art, to know how to, you know, you get this palette, you got this to work with, what you gonna do with it. We're gonna mix it up and it's still gonna be what you would know it will be, but under a different, totally different lens, y'all. All right, so the old Lisa, the legendary beauty, Miss Nia Long, is now played by a character, the character is being portrayed by Simone Joy Jones. She's doing a great job. You got Stevante Hart, who is Trey, who is Will's best friend back home in Philly on the show, on the new show. So there's the whole cast. Like I said, I like to give my shout out to my actors because I know what it is in this biz. You need to hear your name. You need to know you're doing a great job. You got it from me if you ain't getting it nowhere else. Please believe it. Joseph R. Will III, ONYXCON, is supporting this show. BEL-AIR. We need like 5 seasons at least. Hell, make it 10. I don't know if, you know, they want to go that long, but I hope so. I think it's worth it. It's a lot of stuff being handled. And this is what I mean about being handled. There will be spoilers here, but I'm going to do creative spoilers where they're not going to give away the meat of the entire show, the biggest twist in the plot, things of that nature, right? I'm just going to give examples of why this is so different and why you need to make sure you see this. Okay. All right. So let's start off with Will himself. All right. He's still the 16-year-old, kind of goofy, kind of silly, fun kid, but he's got the street smarts. He's got the edge from being in Philly, which he would have for the kind of character he is. He's got the, you know, he's not a tough guy. He's just, you know, I know what I got to do to survive, so don't mess with me. That's pretty much it. The same situation as you know it in the rap song from the original show is still true in this show. It's the reason why he ended up in Cali. But the difference is they look at this like, wait a minute, would he be left alone? Would a thug in this time of day now, even back then in the 90s, would this dude not have had more beef with Will? Would it have ended with just a fight on the playground? That's where it gets deep. Because you got a gun involved because of his friend, who, and all this I'm not giving away nothing. It's in the trailer. You can piece this together with just looking at the trailer. His friend got a gun for protection. They end up at a basketball game with one old would-be playmate that turned to the streets, and he kind of challenges them to a game. They end up out there showing off because Will is a prospect for going to college and being picked up as a #1 recruit. And the hood is jealous of him. And while other folks salute him and love him, and he's the hometown favorite, you always gonna have the haters, right? So the haters are trying to, invade him, and being a kid, he falls for the okie doke. You know what I'm saying? He goes out to the match. He goes out to the basketball match, and he gets caught up. He gets caught up real bad, ends up arrested because he's assumed to be the one. I mean, he did fire the weapon to get people away from him. He never shot anybody. He just let off some shots in the air, like, get off my boy, because they were jumping his friend. The gang was in the midst of the fight. That's all I'm gonna say about that. After that situation, the thugs, the leader of the gang, wants Will dead, wants to kill him, and is constantly after him because he thinks he snitched because he gets out of jail early because of the Uncle Phil get out of jail card, which was called in by his mom because they had that connection still. All that's still true to everything. All the family connections are still the same. Everything's still the same with that. You still have 2 sisters. Uncle Phil's wife is the sister of Will's mom character, which is the older sister. So there's that whole dynamic of older sister, little sister. I need you to take care of your nephew. He coming. All right, we'll do what we can for him. We're going to do all we can for him. We're going to give him a second chance. And this literally happens overnight. Now, here's where great acting comes in for me. This is when I knew the show had me, okay? In the scene where Will is he's been picked up from jail, he's going to the airport, and his mama is furious. And he's scared. They all even talk to her like, oh my gosh, Mom, just understand, it wasn't my fault. They started it, this, that, and the other. And she's just mad. Like, I don't even want to hear it. Like, in so many words, I know they started it, but you know better, right? How did you let them get you in this in the first place? Why were you even there, kind of thing, right? And then she pretty much says, he notices we're not going home. He's like, where are we going? He's like, you're going to the airport. He's like, what you mean going to the airport? That moment when the black mama snapped on her son to let him know, let me tell you something, boy. You gonna do this. Like, these hands have prayed, this heart has worn the sorrow of your ways, and it's enough is enough. If I'm gonna keep you alive, it ain't gonna be here, because you done got yourself in a situation you ain't ready to understand how deep it's gonna be. And I can see if it ain't this, it'll be something else. We gotta get you out of here. And this is your reboot, like the show. Brilliantly played. That's all I'm gonna say. You gotta see the scene to feel the power. Because it's one of those moments where you're like, that's, here's the fantastic moment that's like, would you really do that? Would that really? Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are real situations like this. There are real people with power like this. There are real ways that even though all those things can happen, there's sacrifice, there's circumstance, there's what's next? What are you going to do with this? And then it just goes from there, and it takes that serious tone, which it already had, but it lets you know this ain't going to lighten up. It's going to only get even heavier. And I love it. It's like, I'm biting off the tough meat. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Come on, BEL-AIR. That's when they had me right there, y'all. So by the time he gets there, of course, there's all the fun. The fly place. Jazz is his ride to that was real creative. Instead of the smelly cab driver from the original beginning of the comedy, Jazz is the first person he meets who's kind of got his own Lyft Uber service. In addition to one of his other hustles. I won't give away all his glory of what he is as a character. I think it's so cool how they got him developed. And, and it's the fantasy of coming out to Cali, what I'm saying? Will's got Jazz has the old school Impala sitting on rims, you know what I mean? It looked like it's an old school lowrider car, you know what I mean? So it's pure Cali, and he picks him up in that, and they become kind of instant good connection to have out here kind of thing. He gives him his card. Kind of one of those things like, who knows when I'll need this? He ends up needing him again. The more they meet, the more they become cool. That's going to become his LA best friend, while he still has his best friend back home in Philly. Now with that, the best friend home in Philly, of course, is dealing with the heat of the streets, because once everybody's out of their little small, however much time they gave them for the fight on the playground, He back on the streets and these thugs are at him. This is not gonna, it's not gonna get no lighter. Like I say, it's just gonna get heavier and heavier. So you got the dynamic of all of that. That's why I'll leave that part. Let's get into the other characters. Let's bite off the most notorious, the notorious Carlton. Carlton is almost damn near a villain in the first and second episode, but in a great way. All right, it's not what you. He's the antagonist, and the reason why is he's jealous of Will instantly because he's like, you know, why are you out here? It's almost like the concept of the Fresh Prince. Okay, the prince of what? My dad is the king. Uncle Phil's the king. I'm supposed to be the prince. I'm next in line. What are you here to get? What do you want? Are you out here to steal our fortune and get what is rightfully mine? Or, you know, you got that tension. You got, you know, are you bringing your street stuff out here when this has got nothing to do with, you know, street cred, gang-related drugs, and, you know, what he assumes all of what Will is supposed to be because he's from Philly, you know, and he don't know nothing about the hood. So in so many ways, Will is educating him, but Will is also getting an education from Carlton. And it's in a very uncomfortable way for them being cousins. So the best scene to illustrate this for me, and again, something I really genuinely felt personally, because I went through something like this once. I know what that scene felt like, and they played it. They played it, y'all. Will steps into the locker room of, okay, Carlton plays lacrosse, which in and of itself, if you don't know the history of lacrosse, it's one of those games that it's absurd that when some people hear the word lacrosse, they just instantly think white privilege, wealthy whites play it, that's it, that's a white game for wealthy white kids, whatever. Not the case. Lacrosse came from Native Americans. It was their game for many of the tribes of the original First Nations on this continent. It was their game, okay? After colonization, after total oppression to this day of so many of those groups and others that didn't necessarily play the game, they took the game for themselves. And the way history plays out over time is people don't even associate the game with these people. That's just a little side note for anybody who needed that. Go look it up if you didn't know. Lacrosse is from Native American culture. Okay, and especially in Los Angeles, what this would be, in BEL-AIR, what this would be, very real. Like, you know, the percentage of black students on the whole campus of this private school might be like 2 or 3%, maybe 5 at max, right? It's that kind of situation. All right. He goes in the locker room, Will goes in the locker room to see his cousin after a game, and Carlton and his friends are getting crunk to some trap music. This is so real, because we all know that who buys rap? It's not just black kids. It's everybody. It's the whole world. This is what made hip hop the dominant force it is as the music part of it. And as far as trap goes, and all of its lyrics, and very mixed. We ain't gonna get into a dissertation about trap. I got a lot to say about that being from Atlanta, but we're just gonna focus on the fact that the N-word was being thrown around like confetti. And all the white kids, with Carlton in the middle, as they're, like, it was even the way they, oh my gosh, the framing of the shot was so brilliant. This shows, it's so brilliant in every way. This one white kid who's Carlton's best friend, so to speak, on the team, who's a total jackass that no one can stand. Everybody hates this kid. Everybody who doesn't like him knows he's an ass white, right? Speaking real here, y'all. This show is real, so I'm keeping it real with y'all. The character, not the actor. Everybody's doing a great job. But this character's, you can't stand him. The minute you see him, you say, oh, Lord, here's this little twerp, right? He's standing up on the bench, so he's kind of like the highest pillar. Right below him is Carlton on the ground, not on a bench in the locker room, and everybody else is around him. There's a few Asian kids, a few Latinos, but everybody else is white. And all of them are saying the N-word every time it comes up in the song. It's just like, blah, 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 in the N, and a N, and a N, and a N. I'm just like, yeah, yeah, that's about real. That could be, this could happen, especially with the kind of mind state of this character, Carlton. Not the original Carlton. That's the interesting thing. The comical Carlton wouldn't have done this. This show is ill because this thing, we're dealing with the issue of this now, where people play with this word so much that this could happen under these circumstances, right? All right. So Carlton, instead of getting mad or seeing Will's perspective, because Will checks him, he say, hey, what do y'all do? He shuts it all down, shuts down the party. And the cocky friend of his, the white kid, tried to jump in Will's face. And Will is like, come on, and all like, are you serious? You gonna try and fight me over this? Like, I'm so mad right now, man. I will pulverize you. You know, it's just that moment. And Carlton jumps between them, and in so many words, co-signs for the white kid and tells his own cousin, back off and leave it alone. It's not a big deal. And to soften the blow of the scene, they flip to the next scene. They're at home, and they're having an argument in the mansion at home before Aunt Viv comes in and interrupts her, like, what's the matter? What's wrong with y'all? Why y'all? Because they're about to get into it at home. But it's in so many words. He's saying, you know, Carlton is saying, it's just a word. What's the big deal? And you don't fit in here, and you don't understand nothing. You know, when we're using it and we're having fun, you really expect them not to say the lyrics of the song if they like the song and da-da-da-da-da. The same stuff you hear all the time in social media, the same stuff you hear all the time in arguments about this. And this is one of the big separations of generations too, because, you know, you got folks in my generation, all right, these grades are real, you feel me, who lived through the 90s, who were born in the 70s, lived through the 80s, lived through the 90s, still here, gonna be here, and understand certain things, the weight of it does not change. The context may, but you can't play with certain things. It will always come back to bite you. And it's only you that gets played with. Nobody else has a term like this that they play with. Only you. So Will almost went there, but like I say, it's still network TV, so I understood that. I was just thinking, how far they gonna go? How deep we gonna get? But they did a good job of at least making it an issue. And they kind of left that one hanging for me. So I'm gonna let y'all have that, because y'all at least even bit it off. But from there on, I was looking to see more of that happen, because you're dealing with heavy issues. Are you going to bite it and just leave it half chewed? Which is, to me, one of the faults of most sitcoms. Sitcoms are notorious for have the laugh track going, everybody's laughing no matter what gets said, whatever gets done. Even on the more serious moment, you just get that, oh, you know, they got that for it. Every emotion is a track with the studio audience. But when you get into certain things, it gets left. It's just, you get the little blanket overall statement for why something's not right, why something is wrong. You know, see, right and wrong is always objective. You never get into function and dysfunction. Function versus dysfunction. This is dysfunctional. Why? Let's break it down. They didn't want to play with that, in my opinion. But they damn sure did a hell of a job, way more than most would, for even bringing it up. So that scene was powerful. Like I say, I lived something like that in college. I'm not going to get too far up on the personal, but I had a situation where it was like, you know, I went to my first year of school. I was in Pratt in New York. And coming from Atlanta, you know, a lot of kids in New York in the 90s, they were the beginning of folk playing with the N-word like that. Black, Latino, and even white up there. And I personally experienced kids who thought, because we're all into hip-hop and it's just hip-hop culture, I can do this. I was in a dorm room with some kids, mostly all black. Maybe one Latino. I think all black, and then one Latino, Italian kid from up there. All these guys are northern, from the north. And one guy was rapping along with all my black friends, and he said it in the song. I was like, whoa, yo, dude, what you doing? And he wanted to jump back at me. And it was one of my black friends that jumped in between us to say, hey, telling me, take it down. It's okay. Let it slide. It's not a big deal. And that's when I realized, oh, yeah, I'm definitely not at home. This is some bizarro world. I don't know what y'all doing up here, but I guess y'all done lost your mind if you think this will ever be cool. So like I say, that scene hit hard. That scene hit different for me. Just being a little transparent for my audience so you can feel me. And some of y'all are clapping because you understand where I'm coming from. The rest of y'all lost forever, and some of y'all just don't even understand what the big deal is. But big deals are big deals, and this show is a big deal. That's going to remain the point. So let's stay on target for the rest of what we got to talk about with these amazing characters. Ashley. Still a cutie pie, still the darling of the show. I like the way they casted her being the young daughter. And just like the original show, you can tell she's going to get her moment. She already had a slight moment in the last episode, episode 4, where you could tell she'll have her episode where it kind of focuses on her. But because she's the youngest, everybody else's story is a little more the meat of the story. It happens. It always happens like that. Unless the show is all about the kid, the teeny bopper of the show, then that's always going to kind of be your place in these types of shows. But she's doing an excellent job. They're showing her trying to grow up a little too fast, just like the original Ashley, starting to feel herself growing into her womanhood when she reached, you know, like I say, teeny bopper age. I guess she's supposed to be 12 or 13, somewhere in there. I don't know. And, you know, she's starting to like boys and all that stuff, you know, that kind of thing. They're getting into that. That's the lightheart. That's almost like the, you know, for the issues amongst issues, that's the easiest to digest, right? The new butler, my man Jimmy Akingbola, who's playing him, is killing it. All right, dude's tough as nails, and he still got the British thing in there, but he's Jamaican with the British. And he's from, obviously, from what they give you a little piece of his history, that he came out of Kingston. So he's from the hood for real. You know what I mean? But he done cleaned this stuff up. He got a good life. He's got a good opportunity with his connection and friendship with Uncle Phil. And you can tell there's a lot of heavy right there. It's like a bodyguard relationship, not just, he's not even posed as the butler so much as the head of security is his job. Listen, Uncle Phil's not to be played with. My man G is not to be played with. They doing some real stuff here, right? So you got that going on. You know, Uncle Phil, and I'm getting to him now, is running for the new district attorney, which is huge, of course, in LA, and is dealing with all of the modern politics, the racial stuff, the social unrest, the police, the defunding of the police, and even that gets some meaty stuff with. That's the one name I should have put down on here, but shout out to the actor who plays the dad of the new Lisa, who is the chief of police. Boy, this plot there is no lighting up. We going hard, right? I love it. And so, yeah, so Uncle Phil's character is really a totally different take. You know, he's not the, I mean, let's be, I mean, no disrespect to James Avery, but he was a hefty guy. You know, he's not a hefty guy. He's a fit dude who, you know, maybe a little tighter in the waist, but his pants still fit him trim, and he wears a nice suit, and he's, you know what I'm saying? He's that dude, and it's a real cool take. You know, he's still bald head, got the beard and everything, but it's just, again, we flipping everything, so it's a little interesting to see this. With each character, they take one thing and twist it to make that the main ingredient for why it's so different, right? So with this dramatic Uncle Phil, you know, he's got to be tough as nails with Will. But him and Will both start showing each other ways to compromise the uncomforts of their situation, to become like true fatherly uncle and son type nephew energy, which is beautiful to watch that develop. And yeah, I like that a lot. You know, coming from a true two-parent home with parents that love me, I have always wanted to see more examples of that in our shows, so to speak. So to see it continue in this, and a drama, beautiful. Loving every bit of it. Keep it rolling, keep it strong. You know, don't sugarcoat nothing, but keep it strong, keep it what it is, what the ultimate goal is, to show Black excellence, show the beauty of what it is when we are raising our children with the highest standards, and I love it. I freaking love it, right? So that's what's happening with that. As I said, I covered Carlton and his villainy in the show, but I also want to add to that he's not, it's like you love and hate him at the same time. You can tell over time you're going to like him for some things, but you can't stand him for most because of how he is. And you just want clarity. You're just waiting on them episodes where those issues that are, like I say, being brought up but not fully chewed and processed need to be processed. You know, all of his mental issues, what he thinks is important, and how he's purposely assimilated himself to the max, and thinks that it's all justified because he speaks well, articulates. You know, that's the lame excuse that constantly gets used. Like, you know, they always get into that of, you know, oh, you think I talk white? Well, what did you mean white? It's different. It's white folks that's poor too. You know, you're talking about wealthy white, and you think that everyone like that speaks well and is intelligent. I mean, there's always compromise to all of this. The bigger point is, if someone is not for you and is not supporting you being you, who you really are, not the game, not the representative, which is what this character is always. It's good. He more or less is who he is, but you know, because of the two parents he's got other sides. He knows who he really should be, is whatever. He's fighting it, and he's ashamed of it at all times, because and they even get into, you know, for just example of stereotypes, there's a scene where Phil and Will are bonding, and after everything else is shown that he can't stand this Will, you know, Carlton sees them bonding from afar, and he's just like, now you're going to steal my dad too, you know, after he's, you know, kind of stole his glory at school because he was like the popular guy, and like kids at school start to like Will a little bit more after he's on the basketball team. That's a whole nother journey. And all of that, they get into that. But the thing is that he shows that that Uncle Phil wanted Carlton to still do some things that maybe he considered are soulful or quote unquote black. Like he had set up a basketball court for him. And then he went and played lacrosse, which I say again, people, the stigma of things looked at as this white sport. It wasn't even originally there. It was a Native American thing. But regardless of the origin, the point is Carlton wants to break ground. He wants to be accepted and dominant in this world. He wants to be the badass black guy who's still kind of assimilated. But it's like you're selling out to get it. Not even selling out in the sense that you don't even know what you're selling. You don't even know you're a sellout. You don't even know you've sold anything. To you, it's all part of the process. And so it's like, it gets into that. It gets into that. And brilliant writing, y'all. Brilliant writing, brilliant acting. I'm telling you, it's the one. Y'all need to see this. Hillary, one of my absolute favorite reboot characters here. She is not a ditz, y'all. She is not to be played with. She's tough as nails. She's gorgeous, and she knows it. She is not taking she's here for all the smoke, as you kids say. She wants the smoke, all right? She's an IG legend, but not just for her beauty, for her brains and her talent. She's a culinary artist. The other Hillary couldn't even make grits. This is the flip, right? Beautiful actress, forever and a day. Oh my gosh, the original Hillary. Who didn't have a crush on Hillary? Fellas, feel me. Hello, okay? But, and this one you will have a crush on too. Like I say, they're keeping the gorgeous intact. She's still fashionista, always dressed to the nines, and just all, fabulous. That's Hillary. She's still doing all that. But she's no ditz, and she can cook. And I mean burn. She's a chef. That's her passion. That's her art. And the conflict there, here we go with the art life. This is why I love it. I'm an artist. We about art. This is ONYXCON. We about that art life. Her and the mom had a conflict because her mom was a famous painter that put it down. And it's not been said yet, but it's almost right in your face to hell. When she had kids, she took a turn in her life. She focused on her family, and so now she's an art teacher. And there's a whole rift between them over that because the mom has all these societal sorority type level connections and things. Uncle Phil's in a fraternity. They actually shouted out the alphas. I'm not a Greek and all that, but shout out to the alphas. I got some alphas in my family. Power to that, No, my fingers just did something quick. I wasn't doing no hand sign. That was just not on purpose. Want to make that clear. But basically, yeah, they have these connections, so they're trying to make the best of using their power as parents do. You use your resources. What's the point in having connections if you're not helping your family, grow up the ladder? Problem is, some of the people she's connected to, and they show this, are not the best opportunity for her, not the best match for her. They don't respect what she's doing. They don't respect her talent. They don't respect her recipes. She's coming from taking like a modernization of soul food, like keeping its flavor, making it healthier, making it more trendy with other mixing of other cultural nuances and styles of cooking. The stuff that's happening now with culinary art. Been happening. And they bringing it to the show. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. But like I said, there's a conflict between her and the mom because mom wants her to be more and wants her to get out on her own. And then when she actually says, all right, mom, I'll take you on the shot. I'm ready to get out on my own. Even that's an issue. So it's just, there's love, but there's tension. And they're showing the real of that. Love it. I can't stop saying love it. It's Valentine's. It's Black History Month. What can I say? I love it. BEL-AIR is dope. We got a new character who, she's a whole nother vibe. She's the same in the way they are bonding. But the thing here that makes it more complicated again with Carlton is Carlton's ex. And Will didn't even know it when he first started talking to her. He was just like, cute girl, what's up, what's up? And she's like, hey, what's up, new guy. And they all in the flavor. And then Carlton shows like, what the hell is this? And it's like, oh shit, forgot to tell you. Oh, damn, that's your cousin? I didn't know. I just thought I was talking to the new guy. And then it goes to hell, of course. But what can they do? It ain't like they did it on purpose. Like, yeah, let's, So that's, even again, good writing. It's like the way it was introduced, everything, timeline, all that was just right for some real life stuff. So, I think I'm giving y'all enough that if anybody sat through all of that, you gotta want to know what the hell I'm talking about. So go watch Bel-Air. You won't be disappointed. Trust me, this show deserves multiple seasons. Shout out to, again, Morgan Cooper for your vision, man. I'm glad to see when I looked at IMDb that you're still involved with every single one of the episodes as the original showrunner, the original concept of this, bringing it to Will and getting it made, man. Congratulations. This is amazing. And I will say, as an actor, because I got no shame, everything intended to get a pop opportunity, cast JRW3. Look me up. See what I'm about. If it gets to anybody on that level, would love to be a part of this show. Really. Really. You know what I'm saying? Whether in Philly, LA, whatever it is. Great show, y'all. This is Joseph R. Will III, artist, founder, and president of ONYXCON, signing out. Peace. Yo, Mad Cab. Get you some. Oh, here we go. Mad Cab.